Hey everyone, and welcome to a quick Jurassic World Evolution 2 tutorial. In today's video we are going to talk about the staff management, and this is not available over here because we don't have a staff center, but more about that in this tutorial. So let's kick it off and let's quickly talk about the scientists. Alright, so before we start talking about the scientists, let me just give you a brief intro to what the scientists are. So in this game, there is basically a new currency, if you will, and this is the scientist management. To unlock the scientists in the first go, you will always need an operation center. In this case, I took the visitor center of the Jurassic Park looks, but depending on the level you're playing, you will need to go with the Jurassic World or either way to have this first of all. That means that you have unlocked the ability to have some scientists. At the very beginning, you have only 2 slots available. In some of the levels you play, you carry them through from previous levels. So that means you could potentially have 2 or 3 already. Now, if we look in here, you can see at the moment the limit is at 2, and they have different traits. And I'm going to talk about these traits real quick. You have got these 3 traits over here, and the first one being operations, the second one is kind of research, and the third one is health. They are all meant to be used for different operations to be done, and this is actually logistics, not operations. And this is the overview of different scientists. You can see all of them have these 3 different traits, and they have different points for them. The points mean how much they can do in regards to this specific operation they do, or this specific trait. That means this one over here is a pretty good person when it comes to genetics. This one over here is pretty much in logistics, and that one over here is in welfare. Now, I'm going to recruit all of these 3 real quick if the game lets me do so. I'm going to go for Mr. Anabara Sherlock as well. And in the normal challenge modes, obviously you don't have the training option right available at the beginning because you need a staff center. You can see we only have those 2 unlocked at the moment. That means we only have 2 people available with these amount of research traits. Alright, but first of all, before we can do more, we need a research center to be able to research a staff center, because that is the very first thing you want to do. That means put down a research center and make sure to really quickly research the staff center. Okay, once that is done, you will have a new access to your wonderful scientists. You can click on the staff center and go to view the scientists. Once you've built, you can see you have 2 new slots to bring in scientists. We will quickly do this because at this point I have only focused on the genetic side of things and the welfare side of things, but we definitely need someone for logistics as well. So let's scroll through and we can see this wonderful girl over here, Zoe Bay, is actually very good for us. So we have got those 3 at the beginning, and you can see they have different focus. If we go to our first person over here, you can see welfare is pretty much here. In the challenge mode, over time you can research these training points, and after a while I actually checked, that it is the best to really focus on their strengths very much first. So go here, train him all the way to welfare. Then you go to Mr. Buckley over here. You can see, okay, genetics is the high stakes, so you go for this one and you say confirm. Pretty easy stuff. Again, you won't have that many points available as I have here in Sandbox. You have to research them, and each time you get 2 or 3 points available for all of your scientists. You can train them across the board, and then you do this with all of the people available. Now, let's quickly talk about these traits in specific. These have different meanings for the game. So this first one, logistics, is mostly for the new normal research, and this means that you can research several things like, for example, different buildings or different add-ons to buildings, etc., etc. So everything that doesn't involve dinosaurs or health is actually meant with the logistics. When it comes then to the overall research of dinosaurs, like fossil extraction and going for dig sites and stuff like that, this is meant by the research trait down here. So if you're having levels that require a lot of fossil extraction and a lot of digging and stuff, you really want to focus on that trait over here. And if it's about to manage a lot of dinosaurs, meaning you have a lot of different diseases to cure and stuff, you will have to look into the health trait. So this is the difference between those 3. Now I'm just quickly setting up this level a little bit more, so to show you how you can use them in the best way. Alright, I've got set up my level here so I can show you more about that. So at this point, we have 3 different scientists assigned, and now we can go on and do stuff with them. As I said, you have to research, you can go to dig sites. I've got the exhibition center, but obviously since I'm in Sandbox, I can't go for dig sites. but you will easily do that and then use the different traits available. Now, if you go to the hatchery, we can show this in a very simple example. If we want to synthesize a dinosaur, we go in and now we can choose the dinosaur, and every dinosaur you can see down here has several requirements in terms of research trait. Now, if we click through here, you can see the amount is varying depending on how special your dinosaur is. And I think, you know, for example, the Mosasaur, so it's I think the highest, or is it the, I'm not sure exactly which one. I think it's the Mosasaur with 13. The Indominus also has 15 even. Okay, maybe it might be the Indominus. Indoraptor also has pretty high, but we are going to go with a small one. Let's go for this one, the Hyongosaurus, and we're going to say assign scientist. If we do this, you can see you come to this screen over here, and remember we've got 6 as a requirement, and now you can do 2 things. You can either take one who's got all them available, or you can actually add up 2 to come to 6. Obviously those 2 only have 1, and they are basically not fulfilling the needs. I could check all of them, but that does not make any sense because they've got too much. So you always want to go for exactly matching the traits, because otherwise you're wasting them. In this case over here, I'm wasting 3, but hear me out. It's very important to make sure that you always have as little scientists assigned to one task only, because with each task you do, they get 1 unrest point. If this is full, they won't do anything more, or actually they will, but this will add up to your kind of sabotage level down here. That means you will always have the problem, the more you use, the more unrest points are added for one development, for one research, or for one action only. That means make sure to keep it simple, keep it low, and this is why I figured for me the best way was to make sure to always get people with a very high trait in one direction and not go for the generalists. And the generalists might be good for the beginning, but the more you get into the game, make sure that you go for specialists, because that will enable you to only have 1 person for one task, adding only 1 unrest point. Now we're going to start this over here, and they're going to do this. We are actually going to look into here again. We can't do this. You can see it's all red because we only have those 2 others, and that's a little bit of an issue right now. So we're going to keep that doing. Before we do so, I'm going to show you some other stuff. While you have this going, it is very highly recommended that you go to the upgrades, and you can research actually several updates for your staff center. I would always recommend to go first of all for the scientist capacity. Don't care too much about the cost or the speed. The first thing is capacity, because at the beginning you will always have a shortcome of scientists. No matter what you do, no matter which level you play, you have a very quick shortcut. So that means you definitely want to research the staff center and the add-ons. Make sure to also research the add-on points, because if you have more add-on points for the staff center, you can build a second one, which gives you double the amount of scientists. A maximum of 16 scientists is what you can get in this game at the same time, and then you have to always add the scientist capacity. A little bit different than Jurassic World Evolution 1, you can always only add the same thing once. So you can see I can't put in the second slot another capacity, I have to go for something else. And then I would always go for the staff center speed next, because these 2 work the best for me. The better you get in your park, the costs don't really matter that much, so it always is recommended to go for the speed and the capacity. Now, if I have done that, you can see pressing F5 gets you to the scientist management screen, and you can see we have got new slots down here. 2 of them were added for this one. So you can see building a new staff center gives you 2, and another 2 for the slot. That means you can recruit another one. You can see there's another one, brilliant, with 9. Gonna recruit that one real quick. Go to training, train this dude over here, confirm that. Then we need something for welfare. Just scroll through and see that you can find someone with, like, look at that one. This is beautiful. We've got 9 welfare. Go for that, confirming this, and then go to train again. You get the idea. I don't need to do that all the time. So I'm just going to say confirm and go back. You can see our dinosaurs have been hatched, and now we go to select the eggs, and now you can see it's not the research anymore. Now it's the health trait that you will need. And you can actually check all these eggs, and now you can see, okay, assign the scientist. There is a maximum of 3 people you can assign. This is always the little icon down here, shows you how many you can assign, because there are differences. Sometimes you can only assign 1 person to a task, sometimes 2, sometimes 3, and over here I can at a max assign 3 people to it. Now, as I said, I could go for 1 person only. That would be this one over here, for example, or this one. I'm going to go for Sherlock, and I'm going to say start the task. Now this is going to work, and so on and so forth. You get the idea now. This is how that works. And we are going to just quickly scroll forward to show you one more thing. Alright, so here we are in a little disaster. I released a couple of dinosaurs and they started to fight, which is exactly what I wanted to do, because you can see that we have to check them what they have. Now, we are going to send real quick an MPU over here to check what they actually have, you know. The reason why I wanted to do this is because I want to show you what happens when they need to go to the paramedical facility and how this affects the staff management. Alright, so you can see this one over here has an injury, and this is a major fracture, which we can't cure in the field. That means we will actually need to have our capture team tranquilize that one over here, and we do the same with this one as well. Let's speed up the process real quick. There you go. You can see this is tranquilized. Okay, let's slow down. And now we can use the transport, and we bring the transport all the way over here to our paramedical facility. And we click it, and then you can see there is something opening. And I also did something else, so you can see what happens. You can see our two people named Hake and Buckley are already in the red zone when it comes to unrest. However, we will actually need them in this specific case. We don't need Buckley, but we need Hake. So we're going to take her anyways, even though we would have Sherlock, but I want to show you this, you know, so we're gonna do this. She's a welfare specialist, which means also this is gonna go a lot quicker, and we're gonna say start. She is doing her work now, but you will see what happens afterwards. So let's speed that real quick up, and you can see the dinosaurs brought over, and I'm going to show you what happens afterwards. Alright, the dinosaur is actually here, and you can see the process is going to work. So I'm going to speed the process up real quick so you can see what happens. You can see the Hyongosaurus is in process, if you will. It's going to be treated. We can also zoom in a little bit so you can see that a bit better. It's actually, I like that we have it. It's kind of a bit of a shame that it's just lying down here and being sprayed with, I don't know, water or magical powder. I don't know. It's looking fantastic, but it's, you know, not really crazy. Anyways, it's done. And now when you've done this, and this is pretty simple, you're going to take this and transport that back into its wonderful area. But then you can see the stuff is disgruntled. And if you now do the same thing again, and this is why I kept this other one over here as well, you can see we can actually take her as well, but she is disgruntled. And the more you do this, the trait effects are going down, she will get even more disgruntled. We're going to do this right away, just one more time, and then I'll be back with you to show what happens. Alright, so it's done, and our friend has done the work, and we can bring the dinosaur back into its habitat. However, you can see down here, there is a little icon that turned yellow, and if we click on it, you can see sabotage is actually happening, because I have our friend over here, Hike. She is basically unrested, and I'm still using or abusing here, however you want to call that, and the more you do this, the more this goes further. If I would do this a couple of times now, the sabotage is going on, and this basically triggers the same as we had in Jurassic World Evolution 1. They will open up gates, they will basically initiate some other things, and you know, maybe sometimes a storm comes or whatever. So this is something you want to avoid, especially in challenge mode when a lot of other things are going on. You want to definitely avoid that. So here's time for the conclusion. Right, so staff management in Jurassic World Evolution 2 is a completely new feature. However, I think it is actually making the game a little bit more enjoyable to manage, because there are a couple of things going on, but you really have to get the idea of how it works. First, I had my struggles with it. I didn't have the tutorial, so I hope you guys are enjoying that. Make sure, first of all, to build a staff center or research a staff center as soon as possible, because that's what you need. Make also sure to keep on researching the research points, the training points. They are relatively cheap to research. You can always do it in between expeditions and such, to make sure that you always can improve the skills of your scientists. If we quickly go into the scientist screen, you can see they have 3 different skills, which is logistic, genetic, welfare. Keep in mind that these three have different outputs in terms of what you can do. Logistics is mainly for buildings and facility research, as well as some other normal research when it comes to add-ons to buildings. The genetics part is mostly to researching animals and researching the dinosaurs dinosaurs, as well as doing expeditions and uncovering fossils and stuff. The welfare is basically mainly focused on everything regarding the dinosaurs, researching the different medications for the dinosaurs, making sure that the dinosaurs are hatched properly, and also caring for them in the paramedical facility. So keep in mind, these are the 3 things you need to focus on, and depending on what the task is in the challenge mode, chaos theory, or even in the campaign mode, you want to level your scientists according to that. And especially in sandbox mode, because for whatever reason you need to still do that, make sure to focus mainly on health and research. You don't need logistics at all. I made the mistake at the beginning. I just, completely did it and then whatever. Don't do that, okay? Focus on these last 3 traits to ensure that you can hatch as much as you want. So this is it. I hope this was helpful for you to understand how the scientists work. And please let me know in the comments down below what kind of tutorials you also want from me. I will keep on doing some across the week, so you guys have it right at hand when the game launches. And all I can do now is wish you a lot of fun playing the game. It's gonna be released tomorrow for everyone, so maybe you're even watching that on this day. So have fun with the game, enjoy it a lot, and leave me some comments down below what you like, what you would love to be improved about the staff management, and yeah, just in general, have a good day, have a good week. Thanks for watching. If you want to see more of that, as always, please consider subscribing if you haven't already. That helps me a lot. Stay safe, everyone, and goodbye.